Hey there. Today, we're going to talk about something I think we all face at some point, that feeling of being totally and completely stuck. We're going to look at a new way to see things, a way to reconnect with your life, and we'll be drawing on some really beautiful wisdom from the poet and philosopher Mark Nepo.
So let's just start right here. Does it feel like nothing you're doing is working? You know that feeling like you're pushing and trying and putting in all this effort, but you're just spinning your wheels? It's such a common human experience, so if you're feeling that, you are definitely not alone.
You know, a lot of the time, this feeling comes from being disconnected. We get so wrapped up in the doing of life, the checklists, the goals, the next thing, that we kind of lose touch with life itself. It's like we're physically there, but we're living on autopilot, just going through the motions and watching it all happen.
So, how do we even begin to fix that? Well, Mark Nepo suggests something that sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. He says the most effective thing you can do when you feel powerless is to just admit what's true, to just stop and acknowledge the reality of your situation.
And what's so cool is the word admit itself. I mean, look at this. It has this perfect double meaning. On one hand, yeah, it means to confess something, to say it out loud, but it also means to let something in, like you'd admit someone through a door. And those two things, they're totally connected.
And this is where the magic happens. It creates this amazing positive loop. See, the more you admit what's true, hey, this job is draining me, or this relationship isn't right, the more you open that door and let life in. New ideas, new energy. And the more you let life in, the easier it becomes to see and admit what's really true for you.
So, where does this kind of wisdom come from? Well, Nepo finds these huge lessons not in some complicated philosophy books, but just by looking at the world around us. Nature gives us these perfect metaphors that can really guide us.
Okay, take this first one. The flower doesn't dream of the bee, it blossoms, and the bee comes. It's so simple, right? But just think for a second about what that really means for how we live our lives.
So here's the lesson. Instead of constantly chasing things, chasing love, chasing success, chasing the bee, our real work is to just tend to our own soul, to focus on our own blossoming. When you become fully and truly yourself, you just naturally attract the people and the connection you've been looking for.
All right, now for a totally different energy. Think about a salmon fighting its way upstream. It instinctively knows to swim right into the strongest, fastest part of the current, because that's where the path is clear. And for us, the path of truth, admitting you need to make a huge change, that often feels exactly like that Russian current. It's the hardest path. We spend so much energy trying to avoid it. But the lesson here is that we have to turn and face that current and give it everything we've got, because that's the only way forward.
And then there's this last one, just this incredibly gentle image. Two old monkeys in a zoo, and the only way they could find peace and fall asleep was by just holding hands. This small, constant touch was everything. This just so perfectly captures the truth we fight against all the time in our I can do it all myself world. We need each other. We are interdependent. Real strength and real peace comes from having the courage to reach out and ask for the support we need.
Okay, so these are beautiful ideas, but how do we actually bring them into our own lives? Well, it all starts with finding and honoring our own unique gift, that thing that makes you, you. This one piece of advice from Nepo's mentor pretty much changed his life. It's this idea that you have a gift, and your job is to honor it. And even more, to let that gift teach you how to live. So what does it even mean to honor something? Nepo found this older, more powerful definition of the word honor. It means to keep what is true in view. So it's not some passive thing, it's an active practice. It's about consciously and consistently keeping the truth of your gift front and center in your life. So, how do you find this gift? It's way simpler than you think. Just ask yourself this one question. What makes you feel more alive? And forget about what you should do. It could be anything, making dinner for people or just sitting and staring at the sky. Whatever it is, do more of it. And this is key. Stay a verb, not a noun. Focus on the act of singing because you love it, not on the pressure of becoming a singer. All right, so how do we weave this into our everyday lives? This is the final piece of the puzzle. It's about transforming all those little things we do every day into real moments of connection. And we do that by creating rituals. So, what's the difference between a habit and a ritual? It's simple, your presence. A habit is making coffee on autopilot while you're thinking about your first meeting.
A ritual is making coffee and actually paying attention to it with an open heart. It stops being just a task and becomes a way to connect with your morning.
And you can build your own. Nepo's morning ritual is super simple. 1, he lets light in by opening the blinds. 2, he cares for something living, like feeding his dog. And 3, he does something for someone he loves, like making coffee for his wife. Just these simple, mindful acts can set the tone for the entire day.
And let's be real here. The goal is not to magically make every day amazing and wonderful. That's not life. Tedious days are going to happen. The real practice is about being kind to yourself and, just by being present, finding the little bit of miracle that's hidden even in the tough moments. Which brings us to this final, really beautiful thought from one of Nepo's poems. If you have 1 hour of air and many hours to go, you must breathe slowly. It's such a perfect metaphor for how to get through this long journey of life, especially when things feel tight, when you feel like you're running out of air. So I'll leave you with that question. How can you bring that idea into your own life, right now? What's one small way, in one simple moment, that you can choose to breathe just a little more slowly today?